Welcome to Unit 9 of Piano Video Lessons. I'm Lisa, and in this unit, we're studying Grade 1 level Baroque music. This is Unit 2 of Year 2, and today we're finishing our work on the Bouree in A minor by Johann Sebastian Bach. This is the third lesson, and today we're working on the performance aspects of this piece, so we can turn it into a repertoire piece. We're going to work on memorization, tempo, and performance aspects of the piece that give it confidence and flair and style. So, you can see from this sheet that we've already worked a lot on this Bouree, so by now you should be able to play it all the way through with a steady beat and good articulation and dynamics and accurate notes rhythm and fingering, as we learned in Stage 1 and Stage 2. Now, the Bouree is a dance, and it's a lively dance, so we want to make sure that our tempo is a lively tempo. So we have up here, it says Allegro con spirito, and it shows a metronome speed of 80. So if we just pull up a metronome, and we can listen to the sound of 80 beats per minute. One, two, one and a two, one, two, one E and a two, watermelon salad, blueberry watermelon, one and two, and one and two. So, using that as our guide, we can try to play this piece at that speed. So let's give it a try. One, two. So you may have discovered some places where you needed to pause and think, in which case it's a good time to go back and use our countdown method, which there's a separate video for and we learned in our last lessons. You can just click the info card if you want to go on over to that lesson. You can also click an info card if you want to get a copy of the sheet music and practice plan, as well as all of the Baroque reference material in the ebook. We've got characteristics of the Baroque music and also a study sheet for this particular Bouree, which is in A minor. So we want it to be played through around that tempo. And some other things we want to do is just give it that flavor and flair of a Bouree, which is a lively dance. We want it to feel empowered. Like we could play it fast and we could play it like this. But that just kind of feels aggressive. So we want it to feel lively, which means we have to think of something lively as we play this. I don't know what you would think of that feels lively for you, but just a happy feeling or a scene that would fit nicely in a movie for this, or whatever works for you. Imagine some people dancing in the Baroque era with their ladies with their big skirts and corsets, and gentlemen with their tails and boots with heels and their wigs. They don't want it to be too quick because obviously the wigs will get sweaty and maybe fall off or whatever. Don't make your dancers dance too fast. They want to be able to step through this Bouree in a way that is elegant and lively. So adding that flavor or style to the piece gives it a real added bonus to the listener, because we can tell that you have confidence and that you have a special personal connection to this piece of music. That's what usually gets my students from playing, just average to playing award-winning at festivals and things like that. It's when they really feel the piece and give it something of themselves, or they've incorporated the piece into themselves so that they can really express it in a way that's coming from within and not coming from that piece of paper, making it into music, not just notes. Now, the last thing is the memorization of the piece, and this is something that is very important to understand. Memorization is not just being able to play the piece from beginning to end. It's also being able to know where you are in the music. So we've laid some of the groundwork on this by figuring out the sections of the piece. We know the A section is here, the B section is here. We know there's an echo of the A section on that ending line. So knowing where you are in the music is important. As you're playing through, start to think about where am I in the music. Also, think about the types of chords that you're outlining. So in this first section, right here, we've got the notes that sort of outline an A minor triad, and this piece is in A minor. So A minor triad is the tonic triad, or the triad built on the first note of that scale. So here, we're just playing A minor triad notes, and then running down to D with a D down here, and then moving into F, and then moving against each other. So here on these three notes, C, D, and E, moving in contrary motion, and then we're going to finish this with something in A minor down. So here we're in this A minor position. So we started off at the triad, and then we had this D pattern, and then we had contrary motion around the C portion, and then we're going to run from D here, but in the A minor pentascale position. So we have notes from A minor pentascale. And then the second line we know is the same, and we have to know that after this C contrary motion, that's when we flip over. But we still have something that's coming from that A minor position. Now over here, something strange happens. All of a sudden, we have a chord that we weren't playing before. And this chord is found in the key of D major. It's a 5/7 chord of D major, so we've just for a moment moved into D major with that C sharp. And then we take it to the minor, and now we have we're just in C major with the 5 chord of C major just for a second. So find some way to help yourself remember what's happening here. And then this is the same thing, but we've moved down from just down a note. It doesn't sound good if you play one after the other, but it does sound good when we play it in the piece. G on the bottom, you can see that that's all space notes, all a skip apart. And then we're back to that A section. Oops, sorry. There we are. And then finish. So thinking your way through the piece is a great way to memorize it. Another great way is to work on the left hand by itself. So practicing just the left hand alone lets us be able to hear the left hand. We often hear the melody because our brain focuses on what sounds like melody. We need to be able to tell what the left hand is going to play next. And the left hand also has to be independent of the right. Then the other thing you can do is memorize the individual sections. So let's focus on this line here and just be able... can't write when I play, I also can't talk when I play, but be able to drop in right there. Also be able to drop in right there. Memorize those sections. And then we could memorize the second line because it only happens once, and it's right here where we have this. After the contrary motion, we're going to cross over down. So just talk yourself through it. Think about what's happening. A lot of people just plow through the piece over and over and over and over, and their fingers know what to do. But then their mind doesn't know what to do. And it's important that your mind and your fingers are working together in order to make these pieces really stick with you when you're memorizing them. All right, so we've played it at a lively tempo. We've got some character and style and confidence, and we've made this our own, and now we've memorized it. So now you know what comes next is we have to add this to our repertoire list. So have a sheet of paper somewhere that you... Repertoire, I think I spelled that wrong. There we go. Have a sheet of paper that lists all the pieces that you have memorized and can play really well, that you can just sit down and play by heart. And work through those on a regular basis. Cycle through them so that you don't lose them, because there's nothing worse than getting really great at a piece and then you try to play it later and you've forgotten it because you haven't played it in a long time and you used to know it by memory, but now you don't remember it. So make a list, a repertoire list. Use that as your warm-up when you sit down to play, or use it when you've only got a few minutes to work on something and you need to, just wait for a taxi or wait for the kettle to boil. You can just play through a couple of your repertoire pieces. You don't need to get out your book. books. If you find a random piano somewhere at a music store or a hotel lobby, you can just sit down and play your repertoire pieces because, you know, you've got them with you in your mind. All right, so that is our last lesson on this Bouree in A minor by Johann Sebastian Bach. And our next lesson, we're going to be learning another dance from the Baroque suite, and this one is the Allemande. So come on in for the next lesson, and we'll keep working on these Baroque style dances. Thanks for watching.